morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you who are joining us from across the world. I'm David Stati from the Next Genius Foundation. And this is a session, a very exciting, a very unique session where we are going to explore some non-traditional destinations, educational destinations. When I say non-traditional, these might be non-traditional for high school Indian students, but really these are some amazing, very popular countries for a lot of students across the world. You know, these the places or the universities that you're going to listen today have fantastic programs, fantastic facilities, and some amazing opportunities for all of you out there. So presenting with me here today, we have Amira Hariri from Northwestern University in Qatar. Hi, Amira, good to see you. We have Zorian Wong from Hong Kong University of Science and Technology in Hong Kong. We have Salilai Samora from the New York University, Abu Dhabi in UAE. Great to see you, Salilai. We have Mariano Iturbe from the University of Navarra in Spain. And finally, we have Priti Rajendran, who is an independent counselor at Inustamin. I hope I pronounced that right, Priti.
You did. You got it right.
Great. So what's this session going to look like? Well, it's about a 45-minute session where first, Priti as a counselor will tell us about how and why you should explore destinations beyond US, UK, and Canada. And you know, this session is designed very much for the Indian students, Indian counselors, and for the Indian audience. So that's why I'm naming US, UK, Canada, because those are some of the most popular destinations when you see the numbers. Following that, you will listen to all these 4 fantastic admission officers from Qatar, UAE, Spain, Hong Kong, as they talk about what sets their country apart from all the other countries. What are some of the most popular majors that students go to study there? What would the cost of education look like? The average cost, of course, there will be variations, but what would the average cost might look like? What's the campus and community like? And finally, what kind of jobs do students get upon graduation? So without any further delay, we are going to just start off with the session. And first question is to you, Priti. Why and how should the students explore the higher education destinations beyond US and UK? What are some of the less explored destinations which provide a world-class education and provide a high return on investment? So over to you, Priti. Do enlighten us.
Thanks, Devesh, for inviting me for this. And that's a very big, very wide loaded question, actually, when it comes to international education. I think, so I've worked in university guidance for over 15 years now. And I founded Inustame, which is what I currently work with. And the idea of Inustame is to actually teach students and parents that there are a lot of countries out there in the world. It's not just the UK or the USA. And that goes for Indian students as well. So I think a lot of students that have come my way over the years have always, had the same listing of universities. And I feel like I'm in a very powerful position in a lot of ways because I get to guide students, but I also believe in the world. I don't believe in just 1 or 2 countries. And I say that because I was born in Papua New Guinea. I'm an Indian passport holder. My parents lived on a ship. I traveled and I saw a lot of parts of the world, but in education, I kept seeing one narrative, and that narrative was that Western countries are the place that students should go to for success. And I found there was a really big narrative gap in how we're educating and guiding our students to go and see the world. And I'm actually talking from Czech Republic right now, and I have some of my Mexican students are studying here, some of my Turkish students are studying here. I visited Qatar, and my Syrian and my Ugandan students are studying at Northwestern University in Qatar. You've got so many stories. I mean, and part of my guidance is talking about, why aren't Indian students looking at South Africa, Rwanda, as higher education destinations? There's so many stories that are missing out there when it comes to where students can go for successful higher education. There's Estonia, there's Slovakia, there are so many places. So that's the whole idea behind why I even founded my university guidance platform, is to get students to start thinking, to start hearing stories, to hear about my Moroccan student that's studying in Hong Kong, and to get those stories out there, because education is about learning about stories of people in multiple countries. Education is about multiple migrations, and it's not about ranking, it's not about branding. So that was kind of what I saw when I started working in university guidance, and it's been exciting to see so many students actually getting excited about multiple destinations. And so that's the kind of incentive behind why I'm still doing university guidance, and why I'm doing it out of Prague right now is because I'm actually doing my PhD here and I'm studying higher education migration here. So it's all interconnected. So it's great to see the panelists are from so many countries, and I'll leave it to you to kind of guide this discussion about the different destinations out there.
Super. Thank you so much, Preeti. And the idea of this webinar was born when actually I had a conversation with you a few months ago, where you were so excited about helping the students explore more than just the really traditional most popular destinations. And I can see a lot of counselors out there in the attendees, and I'm sure they are excited and looking forward to learning about all these 4 universities, and not just the universities, but getting a little more wider view of how these countries which are presented over here have not just amazing universities, but also extraordinary job and postgraduate opportunities for the students. So let me start with Zorian from HKUST. Zorian, there are 5 questions, and maybe we can just get to them one by one. But my first question to you is if you could tell us what sets Hong Kong apart from the other traditional destinations. We have about 4 to 5 minutes per university. That means we'll try and take 1 minute per question, right? So let's start with that, Zorian. What sets Hong Kong apart?
Well, thank you very much, Devang, for inviting me first. Now I'll talk about HKUST. But before I talk about HKUST, let me talk about Asia. And talk about Hong Kong. So consulting firm McKinsey proclaimed in 2019 that the 21st century is the Asian century and the global power balance is shifting. So 2 years into the pandemic, it's clear Asia will rebound faster than the world economy, and the IMF forecast that Asia will grow at 7.5% in 2021 as compared to 6% for the world. So when you consider Asia, Hong Kong should pop up. Hong Kong is an international city located in the center of Asia. It is Asia's financial as well as transport hub. And in 2020, Hong Kong's foreign direct investment inflow is world's number 3, and is the world's number 3 in terms of business climate, according to World Bank. So Hong Kong is English speaking. It is safe with the lowest crime rates and one of the best student cities in the world. It is small, but with only 8 government-funded universities, but 5 of them are in the world's top 70. It's pretty remarkable. And more importantly, quality education comes in affordable price. The total cost of a degree in Hong Kong is only half of those in UK and US. Besides, university here provide generous scholarships. So that's Hong Kong.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Zorian. My next question to you is if you could tell us a little more about which are some of the most popular majors or subjects that students come to Hong Kong, or more specifically to HKUST to study there. International students come there. Yeah.
Well, the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology is the world's number 2 young university, and the world's number 34 if we include everybody. So we are a research university specialized in science, engineering, business, and humanities and social science. And we have many interdisciplinary programs. And many of our programs are in the world's top 30. So we are Asia's number 1 business school. In fact, our EMBA program has been number 1 in the world for 9 times in the past decade. So HKUST has a number of Asia or even the world's very first. We were the first in the world and still is the only in the world. We're providing a triple degree and joint university program. So we partner with the University of Southern California in US, of course, and the University of Bocconi in Milan, Italy, to provide the World Bachelor of Business. So still the only triple degree and joint university program. And we were the first in Asia to create undergraduate research opportunities program, giving undergraduate students the chance to work with our faculty's research teams. And most likely the first in Asia, allowing students to create their own undergraduate degree with the individualized interdisciplinary major.
Perfect. My next question to you is if you could help us understand what would be the average cost of undergraduate education, the tuition plus the living expense when a student comes to study in Hong Kong.
Sure. The annual tuition fee for an undergraduate degree in Hong Kong is around US $18,000 or US $21,000. And living expenses, including accommodation per month, ranges from $700 to $800 on average. So the total cost, including tuition fee, accommodation, and living expenses, is about $26,000 to $27,000, which again is only half of those in UK and US. And most program at HKUST is 4-year 4 years, but we use a credit system so students may shorten their study if they finish their credits requirement earlier. And we do provide a number of dual degree programs and partnership programs, which may take up 5 years, and students would graduate with 2 degrees.
Perfect. And are there any scholarships available for international students?
Of course, we provide general scholarship, not just HKUST, but Hong Kong universities in general. HKUST has a standard scheme for IB and GCA level. So if you score 40 or above in IB, you will receive some kind of scholarship for GCA level, similar. And the Hong Kong government provides what we call the Bell and Roll Scholarship for international students, and it includes over 100 countries there. And the highest amount, it's full tuition fee waived, renewable for all 4 years.
Superb. Zorian, do tell us a little bit about the campus, the community, and the diversity at HKUST.
Sure. Now you can see on my virtual background, this is the HKUST campus here, and we do pride ourselves to have the most beautiful campus in the world. I really invite you to come here because we're the only one that's by the sea. We're on a little hillside, and the first row of the buildings overlooking the spectacular sea view are student residential halls. So unlike your usual image about Hong Kong, which is skyscrapers, tall buildings, financial hub, very busy, we are a little bit far away from the city centers, but not that far away because Hong Kong is really small. So we have a swimming pool, football field, because sites by the sea, and many facilities are overlooking the sea, and students enjoy boat trip a lot, and we do have our own pier. So HKUST, it's a very international campus with 40% of the students coming from outside Hong Kong, from 80 countries. The campus is very international, embracing diversity and creativity. So there are 120 student societies, and students are encouraged to create their own societies if they do not find their interested ones in the existing ones.
Wonderful. And my final question to you is, what kind of jobs or postgraduate programs do students pursue upon graduation?
Well, first of all, I would just like to say that 80% of the non-Hong Kong graduates would choose to stay in Hong Kong after graduation. So it's pretty remarkable again, because there's a policy that all non-Hong Kong graduates of recognized local universities would have 12 months stay, unconditional stay in Hong Kong after graduation. And another attracting factor is the average salary for university graduates here are higher than most Asian countries. And it's one of the major reasons attracting graduates to stay in Hong Kong. And those who choose to stay, many would join the Business and Finance Center because we are Asia's financial hub. And with the development of the Greater Bay Area in southern China, including Hong Kong, providing many opportunities for science and engineering graduates as well. So for students who are interested in pursuing postgraduate studies, MPhil and PhD are heavily subsidized. So MPhil student and PhD student will have studentship, which give them pretty, secure living expenses there. So many students will stay in Hong Kong for PG studies as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering all of those questions, Zorian. So next speaker with us is Amira from Northwestern University in Qatar, also a Next Genius partner college. A very warm welcome to you, Amira. And moving on, let's do tell us about what sets Qatar apart from the other traditional countries. Yeah.
Thank you, Davish, for inviting me to be part of this interesting panel. And it's great to tell the story of Northwestern Qatar and Qatar in specific, because I would consider myself, I'm a very lucky Lebanese citizen who has another home, which I call it Qatar. Qatar is one of the culturally diverse nations with a high standard level of living. It is a very safe country to live in, and it has been ranked the 3rd safest country in the world in 2021. Plus, in 2019, it was also named as the best country in the world for starting a career by the US News ranking. Aside of this, it's the hub of top US American universities. In Qatar, there is a vision, investment in education, in sports, and in health. And this has been, practiced, and we are, as citizens, we are seeing it here. Education City in Qatar, it hosts, in addition to Northwestern, 5 American universities, where the students have the opportunity, a unique opportunity to take minors, cross-register among these universities. So the student who's interested also in, let's say, when they are studying bachelors of sciences in journalism or communication, they have the opportunity to take a minor in Middle Eastern studies, in Africana studies, in media and politics, in strategic communications. So these are all opportunities offered to the students in the Education City in Qatar. Also, I would say that it's very, as I mentioned, it's very diverse nation. And since we are talking to the majority of our Indians, I would say that the Gulf hosts a lot of Indians, and Qatar, we have a lot of friends that they are in almost all sectors.
Okay, so my next question to you, Amira, is what are some of the most popular majors that students study at NUQ?
Let me go back to what Preeti was saying, is that the students learn about the stories. So how do they learn about the stories? It's through the students at Northwestern who produce the contents and tell the story. So at Northwestern Qatar, we provide, or we teach the students how to be content producers and storytellers. That platform they choose later and how to tell the stories, it is very broad. It can be through filmmaking, documentary, broadcast, reporting. It can be in politics, it can be in fashion, sports, in all majors. So what is unique about our programs that they are very broad, and they are, and the hallmark of education at Northwestern is the liberal arts education. This is a great opportunity for the students where, you know, if they are journalists or communicators, they have to have the power of knowledge. And the power of knowledge is to have a strong education in economics, history, politics, anthropology, sociology. All these are courses that can take you to, can open to you a lot of career opportunities, career options, or grad studies. So at Northwestern, the programs are very broad, and the students, they don't need to decide from now what is their career. They can go everywhere as long as they are interested in the liberal art education.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Amira. Do tell us a little bit about the cost of education and cost of living at NUQ and at Qatar, in Qatar. Yeah.
I would say that as everybody knows, that Northwestern ranks number 9 in the world, and we are not the branch campus or satellite campus for Northwestern. We are the 12th school of Northwestern. So if the students go and to the website of Northwestern, they would see that we are listed the 12th school, Northwestern University in Qatar. So the students will have the opportunity to earn the same degree of Northwestern, so same diploma, and we charge the same tuition of Northwestern. Besides all this information about the tuition, it's mentioned there. But I would say when you are looking at your education, it is an investment. And the investment is where, let's say we have the financial aid programs. Qatar Foundation provides financial aid. We have the Northwestern grants. We have the merit scholarship. Yes, they are competitive, but we do have. And the most important thing for all students to know that these are all for international students and expats in Qatar. We have sponsorships that it's for the locals, but as for the grants and aids are for international students and non-Qataris. As for the working on campus, and this is when we are talking about the cost of living, I can assure you that the majority of the students here are on financial aid programs, but at the same time, they would be working. There is a lot of student employment opportunities that the student can work up to 20 hours per week, and this can secure them their pocket money for that they can secure them a good level of standing living.
Superb. And let me also add to that is that Indian students have access to the Next Genius Scholarship when they apply to Northwestern University in Qatar.
Of course.
Next question, Amira, is if you could tell us about the campus and the international diversity at NUQ.
We have more than 56 nationalities. And then a very interesting thing at Northwestern Qatar, it's a small school where students will interact with each other. Whenever you walk on campus, everybody would call you by your first name. If from a professor to senior leadership to the students, everybody knows each other. At the same time, you know, when we are joining big universities, students, you know, they might not have that opportunity to interact with diverse group. They would go to their comfort zone. While here at Northwestern Qatar, students have to deal with each other, to work together. And this is when they have that opportunity to get introduced to different nationalities, different cultures, and also the student clubs. The student life is very rich. We have culture clubs, we have athletics. So students have a lot of opportunity, research opportunities. So they have a lot of options that they can enhance their experience through the diversity, through all the student experience, I would say.
Wonderful. And my final question to you is if you could tell us about what kind of jobs or postgraduate opportunities do you see students engaging in upon graduation?
I would say this year we are graduating our 10th class. And the percentage of our students in terms of careers or grad school is like, you know, we have a high percentage of students getting jobs. They are everywhere. They are in the education sector, they are in the foreign affairs, they are in the banking sector. I would say the majority are in the public relations, marketing. Nowadays, with the pandemic, with different, you know, the world is opening together. We'd say that we are seeing many new jobs like web content producers, let's say, communication, branding, advertisement. The branding now, it's something huge. So I would say that majority of the students are going that track, but also we have filmmakers, we have screenwriters, we have producers at Al Jazeera, at BN Sports. It's everywhere, everywhere. This is why the degree that can take you wherever you want, it depends on what do you explore yourself and your interest throughout those 4 years.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing all that information, Arira. I would also like to add one more fun fact here is that a Next Genius scholar who is now in her sophomore here, she interned with she got a paid internship with the Next Genius Foundation recently. She helped us create some amazing videos which are there on the Next Genius YouTube channel. All that she learned at NUQ, she is now putting that to use. So that's great. And we'll move on to the next speaker. We have Salilai Samora from NYU Abu Dhabi, New York University Abu Dhabi. And Salilai, let's start. My first question to you is if you could tell us what sets UAE apart from US or UK.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for putting together this awesome group of panelists, and the questions are just fantastic. And I kind of want to follow the thread of my colleagues, Zorian and Amira, and talk about sort of some shifting global trends that we're seeing. Of course, over the last 50 or so years, there was a lot of movement out of Asia and other parts of the world to places like the US and the UK because of the promise of a world-class education and great career prospects. And I think what we've started to see over the course of the last 10 years, but I think a little bit more acute over the course of the last 2 years, is a sort of a shift going back the other way. So having worked with US institutions, I've read and recruited in India for the last 6 or so years. There's just an ever so slight drop in the number of applicants going to schools in the United States. What we're seeing though is a little bit more mobility outside of the sort of the typical big name colleges. The UAE, I think, is really well positioned for lots of different reasons. I think primarily as an expat living here, I can just say that there is a culture and a vibe that is welcoming of lots of different perspectives and backgrounds. In Abu Dhabi, in the capital city, 90% of the residents here are expats, and a large sort of a minority of that expat population comes from South Asia and India specifically. That is also reflected in our community in NYU Abu Dhabi. About 7% of our students come from India, and so that's also a sizable minority considering the fact that the largest population comes from the UAE and they're about 15%. I saw a question in the chat that was not actually directed towards me, but I just wanted to comment on it as well regarding whether or not some of our schools accept disabled students. In the UAE, there's just this culture of tolerance and acceptance and supporting people from all sorts of different perspectives. Here we call folks that are disabled people of determination. We've hosted Special Olympics. We've hosted lots of different sort of conferences and movement that are catered towards or geared towards supporting people from different backgrounds. So I think that support and acceptance is really a part of why I think the UAE sets itself apart. That being said, there's lots of investment in terms of education, in terms of cultural development, and it's geared, of course, towards the locals, but also in terms of developing a cohort of a strong international community. There are changes in civic law and civic engagement to not only support the local Muslim population, but also support the expat non-Muslim population. So the UAE is quite conscious of the diversity that's present in the community here, and they do a lot to kind of welcome folks.
Super, wonderful, Salilai, for sharing that information. My next question to you is if you could tell us what are some of the most popular majors that international students study at NYU Abu Dhabi?
Sure. If I were to list it, I would go on and on and on, but I think I can say in a nutshell, part of the things that attracted me to NYU Abu Dhabi specifically was the emphasis on the liberal arts. I went to a small liberal arts college in Massachusetts, and I've kind of always been sort of ingrained in me that in order to be successful, you need to be comfortable, effective, and fluid across cultures, but also across academic disciplines. And NYU Abu Dhabi offers just that. So regardless of whatever major you choose, there is going to be a strong liberal arts core foundation in order to give our students or have our students earn core competencies that allow them to be successful. That being said, engineering, we have 6 different engineering majors, and I don't want to list them, but it's civic, mechanical, and general engineering, to name just a few, are quite popular for our students. We have an Arab crossroads major, which makes a lot of sense for students who are either coming from the Middle East or coming from outside of the Middle East who want to get a better understanding of the perspective and sort of where NYU Abu Dhabi stands. The Arab crossroads major is a great one. Social research and public policy, because a lot of of the academic programs here that we have do tend to have a social impact sort of bent to them. So those, I would say, are some of our most popular academic offerings.
Perfect. Moving on, the next question is, what is the cost of education and the cost of living when it comes to NYU Abu Dhabi and UAE in general?
Okay, similar to what my colleague Amira said, we are sort of a part of the NYU network here, so you'll expect the tuition is going to be the same. All of that is available on our website, but I think what I will focus on, and I also encourage students to focus on when they're looking at universities, whether in the US or otherwise, there is a sticker price, but that is not always reflective of the price that students will end up paying. As I was mentioning, the city of Abu Dhabi, the country of the UAE, is super welcoming to people from all walks of life, and that includes socioeconomic diversity. And so in terms of applying to NYU Abu Dhabi, many of our students are actually eligible to receive financial assistance and scholarship that may cover up to and beyond the full cost of attendance. So nearly 70% of our students are receiving some form of financial assistance. Very few of our students are actually full pay. And so for those who are receiving financial aid, again, you can cover up to the full cost of attendance, sometimes with a flight home and even a stipend that covers regular expenses. The city of Abu Dhabi is not an inexpensive place to live, but living in Abu Dhabi, you can learn to find balance in some of the ways that you explore the city. Most things are very student-centric, and so places like the Louvre, some of the beach clubs will have student discounts or discounts just for being affiliated with New York University. Lots of cheap eats around the city. So whether you are interested in dumplings or parati, you'll find it in a way that's affordable. Regardless, we do offer lots of opportunities for our students to work on campus, and again, to be able to attain that standard of living that's moderate. When I was an undergrad, I was eating ramen noodles most of the time. And of course, your undergraduate education should be an investment, but we do offer lots of ways to support our students so that they can find a way to live comfortably in the city of Abu Dhabi.
Superb. My next question to you is if you could tell us a little about the campus and the international diversity at NYU AD.
Okay, awesome. So right behind me, I can't argue with Zorian and say that our campus is more beautiful, but this is just a snapshot of our own campus community. Also quite a lovely place to be, super state of the art. And we're really, really proud of the facilities that we're able to offer to our students. We were actually built to accommodate about 2,200 undergraduate students and a not negligible number of graduate students over the course of the next 15 or 20 years. I'll put a pin on that 15, 20 year, but I just want you to understand that this is a long-term investment from the government of the UAE. Regardless, our campus community is vibrant and it's thriving. 15% of our students come from the UAE. That's the largest population here. That means 85% of our students come from all over the world, with, of course, India and other parts of South Asia making up pretty significant minority numbers. Every day at NYU Abu Dhabi feels like a masterclass in cultural competence, intercultural conversation, but we also put our money where our mouths are in terms of encouraging students and facilitating intercultural dialogue. I am a facilitator in the intercultural diversity initiatives, but lots of our faculty and staff also buy into the importance of developing a cultural identity that's reflective of the community that we're in. And so diversity is very important to us. Supporting diversity is very important to us. But other than just diversity, also fostering a community of belonging, of equity, and inclusion. And that's something that I'm very proud to be a part of this institution because of.
Superb. Thank you, Salai. My final question to you is if you could tell us about what kind of jobs and postgraduate courses or programs do students go for upon graduation?
Okay, this always makes me really excited to talk about because, you know, being at a small university, you get to develop relationships with some of the students. And so it's really a marker of pride to discuss some of the students and what they're up to. In the 10 years since we've opened, we've graduated 14 Rhodes Scholars. We expect that we'll graduate another 2 this year. For those who aren't aware, the Rhodes Scholarship covers a master's degree at Oxford universities for 2 years. And so we're really proud to send our students forward to do programs like that. But our students also go on and do fellowships like the Fulbright. They go on to med school at Duke University. They've gone on to Columbia Law, Harvard, and some of the largest state schools in the United States, but also they go back to some of their local prestigious universities. So some of them go back to their home country. 50% of our graduating class actually remains in Abu Dhabi to work or to study upon graduating. If you are doing the math, if only 15% of our students are from the UAE, that's a pretty large number of our students who actually end up staying in the UAE to work, who are actually aren't from the UAE. The places where they've gone have included SpaceX, NASA, the Human Rights Watch. Many of them are working at local embassies. And in the UAE, we actually graduated the youngest minister ever appointed to a government position in the UAE, and that young woman was the ministress, excuse me, of youth and other youth initiatives in the UAE. So we're really proud of what our graduates are up to.
Superb. Thank you so much, Salai, for all that information. Let's move on to the final speaker for the evening. We have Mariano Iturbe from the University of Navarra, and let's hear about how is it in Spain. So Mariano, welcome. And my first question to you is if you could tell us about what sets Spain apart.
Thank you, Divesh. Well, it has been very interesting to hear the previous speakers. And well, Spain is a country that has a long tradition of university education. We have to think that the first universities, Palencia, Salamanca, are from the 13th century, 12, 15, so 8 centuries of university tradition. And at present, there are more than 80 universities spread all over Spain. 50 are public, the rest are private. And the universities, therefore, offer high-quality education. Now, in the last perhaps 10, 20, 15 years, the number of foreign students has grown enormously. At this moment, there are around 150,000 foreign students studying in Spain in various degrees or master programs, and 50,000 students who are learning Spanish or exchange programs. So most of them are from Europe, all over Europe, or Latin America, or US, and that provides you a rich educational and personal experience. Now, from Asia, at this moment, are around 10,000 students from various countries. But the interesting thing is that in 2015, there were 6,000. So you see how in 6 years, almost double the number of Asian students in Spanish universities. My university, the one that I represent, is the University of Navarra, and is located main campus in the city of Pamplona, 3 hours and a half from Madrid by train, 4 hours from Barcelona also by train. So well located. And as I said, Spanish universities offer quality education and with first-class universities, and the importance of the Spanish language. We want that the students who come to, especially to our university, but who come to Spain, not only get a degree, but they become proficient in Spanish language. 500 million people are speaking Spanish all over the world nowadays, and more than 20 million are learning at this moment. So to spend 4 years, that is the length of a degree in Spain, and coming out with a high quality degree and mastering Spanish language is a great boost for your future professional career. So Spain is one of the favorite educational destinations within Europe. The Spanish society is an open society, so you can make friends very easily and be well received by the people there. Also, Spain is Europe. And that means that in few hours, in 3-4 hours, you can be in Italy, in Germany, in France, in Poland, wherever. So for exchange programs, for a long holidays, etc., these are things that are not so easy if you are in US or Canada or Australia. So travel within Spain is also easy by train, by bus, by car. And well, so I think all these elements make Spain as a favorite place for education today.
Superb. Thanks for sharing that, Mariano. I'm one of those 20 million students who is learning Spanish right now. Okay, my next question to you is if you could tell us about what are some of the most popular majors that students study at, international students are coming to study at Navarra, University of Navarra.
Yes, well, at the University of Navarra, I will say, on the one hand, those degrees that are bilingual, bilingual means that the first year can be done in English, almost 100%, sometimes 80%. Though from second year onward, you will have subjects in Spanish. So that is why Spanish is required, minimum intermediate level B2. But therefore, for those who are not in Spanish speaking, economics and management perhaps is the most international of all our schools. and then degrees in design, marketing, humanities, audiovisual communication, the PPE, etc. These are the most popular for foreigners who still don't master the Spanish language. And then for students who are ready to learn the language, medicine is very popular and very sought after, but difficult to get admission because we have 200 seats for 2,000 applicants every year. So 1 out of 10 more or less can be admitted.
Perfect. Thanks for that information, Mariano. My next question is if you could tell us about the cost of education and cost of living in Spain.
Yes, we are a private university, and the fees per year vary from 9 lakhs to 14 lakhs Indian rupees. The most expensive, the cheapest are in the area of humanities, and the most expensive is medicine and then engineering. For the cost of life, more or less between 90,000 rupees to 1,30,000 rupees per month. So that is an average, we say, between academic fees and the cost of life, more or less, well, you need some 25,000 euros, 26,000 euros per year. The duration, the length is 4 years, except medicine, that is 6 years.
Okay, great. And there are some scholarships available for international students?
Yes, there are. There are students with good academic records and with financial needs. When they apply, the application process is online through the MIUNAP portal. They can ask for a study of cost and scholarship, and the university will study their proposal, and they will grant, most probably, if these two circumstances are present, the financial need and the good academic records, they will give a discount in the academic fees that will be 10, 20, 30, 40, even sometimes 50% in the academic fees. And if you are very brilliant, you can apply for the alumni scholarship. You need 8.5 in class 11, 8.5 out of 10 in class 12. And that alumni scholarship sometimes can also cover part of your hostel accommodation expenses.
Superb. Moving on to the next question, what is the campus and the diversity like at University of Navarra?
Well, I say our main campus is in Pamplona. Almost all the undergraduate courses are taught there. In San Sebastian, 1 hour away from Pamplona, in the border with France, we teach engineering. Now, our campus is characterized by a variety of students. We are a Spanish university, very rooted in Spain, but open and with an international dimension. So more or less, a third of our students are from abroad, another third from the Navarra region, another third from the rest of Spain. So I say, and we foster very much extracurricular activities in the area of sports, in the area of culture, in the area of theater, etc. Social activities also. We have the Tantaka club that organize various social activities, and in summer periods they go to another continents to help here or there. So there is a good integration between a rigorous academic programs and an intense and vibrant campus.
Fantastic. And my final question to you is if you could tell us about what kind of jobs or postgraduate opportunities do students have access to when they come to University of Navarra?
Well, regarding job, according to the QS, we are well ranked in the number of the percentage of students who get a job within few months, within the first year after graduation or after master. So we have a placement office and an office that tries to help the students to look for opportunities, possibilities during the 4 years of the degree. And the students get soon a job, many of them going back to their countries of origin, others were from Spain, also some foreigners in Spain. But our students, foreign students, the majority of them go back to their own countries.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing all of that information, Mariano. And let me just come back to all of you speakers once again for a final piece of advice that you'd like to share with the students. Preeti, let's start with you. Anything that you'd like to share before closing?
I saw a question about the Indian curriculum, and I think there's a lot of emphasis on IB and American diplomas and things like that. But with the Indian curriculum, something to keep in mind for Indian students is if you're looking at cheaper destinations that are well known but have great access, you could consider countries like the Czech Republic, Estonia, Hungary, because they're actually looking at students that pass their high school diploma, and it doesn't mean that they're not looking for rigorous grades, but they look very holistically at your entire application. And they don't look at specific curriculums. They look at all high school diplomas together, and they'll give you an admission based off of that. And then staying within a university is the hard part. So getting in is easy, but staying within a university is the hard part. And I speak for the Czech Republic because I'm based here. But if Indian students are looking for a liberal arts education or looking for any other subject as well, you're paying 3,000 to 6,000 euros a year in tuition. That is it. And a lot of the times you also get a lot of scholarships available, and the living expenses are really, really cheap compared to Western Europe. But you have access to the European Union because countries like the Czech Republic are actually part of the European Union. So this is really something important for Indian students that are looking at places that are cheaper, because you do get great education. And I'm a student here and I speak from experience in saying that. So that's something to keep in mind. And I also just wanted to add that I liked what Dorian said about the Asian era, because that is true. There is a reverse that's happening, and it's exciting and it's fun. And everybody is talking about studying in Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, you name it. So there's a change that's happening. That's what I wanted to say.
Superb. Thank you, Preeti, for that fantastic insight. Moving on to you, Zorian, anything that you'd like to add here before closing?
Well, thank you, Preeti, for the promotion of Hong Kong. Well, think Asia and think Hong Kong. So by 2025, Asia would house 2/3 of the world's population, and the global power balance is shifting. So Hong Kong is a city full of energy, and it's Asia's financial center and transport hub. It's an international city with abundant opportunities. While small, we have 5 universities in the world's top 70. Providing top quality education with comparatively much lower cost than the conventional destinations. And those who have the courage to try the less taken path will find many doors open for them and opportunities open for them. So encourage alongside logic and reasoning are essential elements for success. So that's Hong Kong.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zorian. Moving on to you, Amira.
I would say the advice that I would give it to all the students is, it is the time to start thinking out of the box. Follow your passion. Go for programs that can give you a lot of career opportunities. Don't just be focused or take this tailored programs. Go to the, look at the student experience that you're going to earn during your 4 years in education, the higher ed, in terms of internships, international residencies, exposure to network, different diversity, scholarships, financial aid programs, and join Northwestern Qatar and attend the World Cup 2022. We are coming soon, and be part of this history.
Superb. Thank you so much, Amira, for sharing that. Moving on to you, Salilai.
Okay, and I'm just gonna say again, thank you so much for hosting us, and thank you to my co-panelists for really dropping some wonderful gems here. Pay attention to what we've said today. And my biggest piece of advice is do your research. And I think Amira said this, but your education is going to be an investment. And if you are going to invest in something, you should understand what that thing is inside and out. And as you're going through your college search journey, make sure that the things that you're looking for are tailored to yourself and true to yourself. Yes, things like rankings and the amount of financial aid that a university gives are important factors to consider. But if a school is ranked #1 for engineering and you're looking for medicine, or they give you lots of financial aid, but they don't have your academic area, then that school really isn't a fit. On top of that, thinking about fit, you should really be considering how a school or university is going to approach its learning pedagogy. Does it fit your learning style? Will it offer you research? Will it offer you the things that you need to get to the place that you want to go? If I can give you any piece of advice, is that your college list should be tailored, it should be specific, and you should have an idea of how it'll fit for you. That will really help you from expending a ton of energy. You won't apply to 30 different universities, many of whom just might not be a fit for you. So if you focus your energy on the places that truly are a fit, you'll find that the result will be rewarding in the end. And I wish you all good luck.
Fantastic. That's an amazing piece of advice. Finally, Mariano, what would you like to add over here?
Fine. Okay. So, well, I think so many things have been said already. So, University of Navarra is a good place to study in Spain. And if you have attraction for the Spanish culture, for the Spanish, then come. I think if you feel that language will be a big problem, perhaps your destination should be somewhere else. But to come to Spain is a place where you have to feel that attraction and be ready to learn that language. And once you have learned that language, and you come out with a good academic degree, then many doors will open for you in the future. So I say, don't be scared, don't be afraid of a new culture, of a new language. You will be rewarded in the future. So I wish you all the best to all of you.
Gracias, Mariano. Thank you for sharing all of that wonderful information. And I thank all the panelists for joining us this morning or this evening or later in the night for this session. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining. Have a great evening.